All right, yo, what's up, Alan?
Hey,
I've got a question.
yeah, what's up?
What do you think is more effective in general, uh, in combat? Like a Mark 19, assuming assuming like that mechanically both of these would work fine, a Mark 19 or an M2? Because I know people will shit talk the Mark 19 for like jamming and whatnot, but I'm talking about raw performance wise, not, you know, not about the technical failures and shit like that. Like if they both actually worked the way they should.
Well, I think the Mark 19 would be ideal in majority of situations when it comes to warfare, other than urban environments, really.
Really?
Yes,
Because
definitely.
I think that the Mark 19 is like going to be generally looked at as a more powerful weapon because it's, well, a grenade launcher. But while I used to think there's well, I used to think, actually before I gave it more thought, say a couple years ago, that, oh, undoubtedly the Mark 19 is going to be a better weapon to have. Like, why would you not take the Mark 19 over an M2? I've come to sort of change my thinking on it. I think the M2 is going to be a more effective weapon in general.
But why though? Because with the Mark 19, they can be behind cover, and you can still reach out and touch them, and or fucking kill them. So why?
Well, so that's the thing, right? I think that the biggest uh the biggest like advantage, the biggest thing that Mark 19 has going for it is that, oh, it negates cover, so to say, because you can shoot behind cover and if somebody's hiding, you can just blow them up from behind. But if you think about it, the M2 also pretty much negates cover. It doesn't it doesn't like
Well, depending on the cover,
behind
yeah.
something and whatever, but you can punch through a lot of cover with an M2 and like, more accurately at that
Well,
range.
do you need accuracy when you can't see your target? So let's say the dude's hiding behind a like concrete wall or something, and you shoot a 50 cal through it. He's gonna move. You ain't just gonna stand there and get shot at. You're gonna move. But with the Mark 19, you start shooting the wall. It's gonna break that wall apart much more efficiently. And if that guy tries to move, it's explosive rounds. It's gonna shrapnel's gonna hit him. It's gonna slow him down. He's gonna get confused. Like, where do I move? There's all these explosions. Like I think Mark 19 in that case would be a lot better, just like most cases.
Well, if he's moving or something, behind a wall, the 50
Well,
cal
everyone's gonna
can
move.
just as easily. Yeah, yeah.
It's combat. You're not gonna just be
Well,
there and get shot at.
yeah, but if you're not getting shot at until you're getting shot at, then, you're gonna if the cover's working out for you so far until the 50 or Mark 19 is brought against you, uh,
Yeah, but
I don't know.
his exact
You're probably
pinpoint location.
then it's if it works, don't if it's not broken, don't fix it.
You're not gonna know his exact location behind that wall, so you're gonna be shooting through the wall, just hoping
Yeah.
to hit his position. But he could not even be there. He could be like 4 feet away from where you're shooting at.
Well, that's the same case with the Mark 19. But yeah,
Okay.
I know where you're getting at then. You're saying then, okay, the explosive round is more convenient because you don't have to like actually
Yeah, you
hit
don't
the
have to hit
guy.
him dead on. The grenade kill radius is 5 meters. So I mean, and then the shrapnel, I think the wound radius, I'm pretty sure is 15 meters through a grenade. I don't know if it's any different between a hand grenade or a Mark 19 round, but that's what I know of. So if
Yeah. I would imagine
15
there
meters,
is.
you're gonna get fucking pelted with fucking shrapnel.
Uh yeah, but with the 50 cal, you could just like shoot through however big of a wall it is and just saturate it just as easily, you know?
I mean, yeah, but you need to hit him pinpoint, which is the problem. Like, even if like, what happens if he goes prone and then from you shooting the wall, it creates all the rubble, and he's hiding, crawling behind the rubble because you haven't hit him yet, and he's not dead,
Mm-hmm.
so he can just crawl away. I mean, sure, you can engage the rubble, but where he is. So the Mark 19 is indiscriminate. You just shoot it, and most likely he's gonna get really fucked up or he's gonna die.
Well, I guess for that matter, you do have a point, but then you've got to consider, okay, what's the actual goal of an M2 or Mark 19? Is it to, by all means, ensure the death and destruction of whomever you are engaging, or is it to support effectively your your friendly maneuvers in rendering the enemy opposition ineffective? And I think you would absolutely render ineffective if the guy is down prone in the rubble, crawling for his life, trying to just not, get fucking domed by the next round coming in for him.
I mean, I guess
So,
you have a point, but would you rather kill someone so they're never going to be in the fight again, or just have them run away so they can come back and shoot you 5 minutes later? Like, the whole
well, I think it
against
depends
one
then
is
on
to
the
kill them.
scale. I think it depends, on the. Because if you're just talking on one individual, would you rather have one individual be able to do that, or one individual uh, still be able to come back and be effective? Then the answer is kind of like, duh. Yeah, you want the guy dead. But if you're talking on a scale of like more more opposition, and you want in general, do you want in general the opposition to be rendered ineffective, or do you want in general them all to be fucking dead? Then it's like, well, what's more practical? I think it's more practical that from a non-maneuvering kind of weapon standpoint, which is what we're considering the M2 and Mark 19 to be here, um, that you just want to render them as ineffective as possible.
Okay, well, isn't the most possible way of making someone useless is by killing them?
Well, but no, but think about how many you can do with each weapon, because so with the M2, you can carry far more ammo with it
Well, you
than
don't
with
need
a
as
Mark
much ammo
19.
with the Mark 19 to accomplish the same goal because they're explosive. Explosives, you can kill multiple people with just one shot.
Well, that's I wouldn't actually argue that it is more efficient in that sense per ammo, because or per, fucking shot, because while it's explosive, it's gonna take you, I would say in general, you're gonna
To get
have to
on target.
spend more rounds walking onto target. Yeah, with the
Yeah.
50, it's gonna take far less ammo to walk onto target
Well, I mean,
because of the velocity difference. There's a huge velocity difference. It's like 700 meters per second difference between the two. The Mark 19 only fires at like 250 meters per second tops muzzle, and the M2 is like almost 900 or some shit. It's fast as fuck.
but that's why they're sights. And as as a soldier, you will gain the knowledge of how far, however many meters is. So you'd be like, huh, that's about 250 meters, 300. So you're gonna aim your fucking sight at 250 meters and then just adjust from there. It might be just one shot to adjust. Like, what's one shot?
Well, one shot for the Mark 19 is 1/32 of your magazine. That's what one shot. That's what one shot is. So it's 3% of your magazine. One shot on the M2 is 1%. If you literally mean what is it? But yeah, I know what you mean. That yeah, you'll gain that intuition for how far something away is. But it's still the matter that like in just between the two, yeah, that's gonna apply for both, right? And so you you I think you cannot deny that then with the weapon with worse velocity between you know the weapon operators that both have that distance intuition, it's gonna take more adjusting to actually finally get it on target if you repeat the
I
fucking
mean,
tests a few times.
I guess, but it's so much more clear to where you are hitting. With a 50 around it, unless it's a tracer, But like even then, you might not even specifically see where you're hitting. You're just shooting at a general area, and you're like, is that good or not? I can't really tell. There's all this dust kicking up from everything that's going on. I can't see. Like a fucking Mark 19 round would just be a big explosion. You'd be okay. I hit it right there. I know how to adjust. You know what I'm talking about, though?
I guess, but I think you'd also see a huge plume of dust if you're like hitting a wall or something with the 50. In terms
Okay,
of
yeah,
dirt,
but what
in
happens
terms of
if
dirt, like I don't know. I'm not.
like every infantryman in the whole company is shooting? Well, not the whole company, but let's say a whole squad of dudes are shooting at the enemy, and you see all these dust plumes where the rounds are hitting. Like you're not gonna be able to tell which one's yours with all that shit going on.
Hmm. You know, that's actually an interesting point. Um, you would definitely be able to see the fucking 40 millimeter explosion. Yeah. Um, wow, that is a pretty good point. Wouldn't you have ideally a spotter for your fucking rounds though? For the 50 cal team, so to say?
A spotter? I mean, well, not really.
Or do they not do that on like the
If
Humvee
if
massive
you're yeah, if you're in
guns?
a Humvee, unless you're like in a fob or something, and you're using it out of like weapon range of a, let's say, 249 or a five, like any kind of 5.56 weapon, and no one else can engage that target,
Hmm.
you're not really gonna have a spotter. But if everyone's able to engage the target, everyone's gonna be shooting at the target. No one's gonna be spotting for a 50 cal unless they are specifically designated to spot. Like as a gunner on a vehicle, you're not gonna have a spotter.
All right, I got you. I still think that even if it's like harder to see your specific impact among a bunch of shit though, that like the velocity is actually you barely need to um account for any drop even out to a kilometer, really, right? So I don't think that would actually be the biggest problem, even if you have a bunch of shit, because you could still just kind of point it, like point and click,
Well, how
it
long? How far
seems.
do you think a Mark 19 can shoot for?
Oh, I know that they have plenty far range. They do. Um, their max range is somewhere around 1,600 meters, I think.
Well, for an effective like point target, it's 1,500 for a point target.
Like it's far, yeah. And the
I mean,
M2 is
if it's a moving
somewhere,
target like a vehicle, sure, it'd be easier because the speed of that vehicle is definitely gonna be hard to hit with the mark.
yeah,
Like
no
a
kidding.
like an infantryman or like a like slow moving vehicle like super slow. I mean, Mark 19 all the way.
What?
Well,
Against a vehicle?
yeah, if it's like a technical that's popping in and out of cover to get shots on you.
No, I think the 50 cal is like fucking definitely better against vehicle.
Oh, why?
Because the velocity. Like if as you say, it's hopping in and out of cover, so it's like moving. Um, your fucking 40 millimeter is gonna take a good few seconds to even get there in the first place. And
Yeah,
then,
but by the time you'd get sights on it and actually pull the trigger, it's going to be away in cover, so you're not going to be able to hit it. If you got a Mark 19, it comes out, shoots, backs down, you get it lined up where it was, and then just wait for it and you shoot it, or you can like time it if they're doing like 5 second intervals or whatever. Just time it, or you can even shoot over the cover they're in and just destroy them that way, or get them to route, whatever. Either way, I think it'd be more effective totally.
mm, well, but that's only if you're specifically talking about a soft vehicle. Like if you're talking about anything that has even light armor,
Well, yeah,
even like light
like
skinned,
like a BTR.
even even like even like an MRAP kind of thing,
Well,
then like 50 cal better. Because otherwise you've got to be direct hitting it
yeah, with
with the
HEDP.
40 millimeter, and that's or yeah, with the HEDP of the 40 millimeter, and that's gonna be
Yeah, in that case it'd be good. But I'm
much more
like a fucking
difficult.
technical, like a truck with a dish gun in the back or something like that.
Yeah, if it's just that, then I can see what you mean regarding being able to just sort of indirect fire it, in a particular situation. But
And even if you are in per se an MRAP, who's to say that if grenades aren't going like let's say an American convoy is moving along and they get shot by an AGS by the Russians, and they're like, well, shit, we're just gonna we're not
like
probability of them
on
hitting
Black
us.
Saturday, that's like exactly what happened
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
fucking MRAPs. But anyway, so you're
M
saying what?
like MRAPs aren't the end all be all solution to Mark 19s. Like even if it lands close, you're gonna be like, oh well, fuck, we probably shouldn't stay here. Like you're still gonna feel it.
Oh, so okay, you're saying that even if the armor is sufficient against the round, it's still going to
Still gonna give you that
affect.
morale
It's still
fucking
going
killer.
to. You're saying it's still going to then render them inefficient or ineffective.
Well, it could suppress them. It could
Yeah.
drop their morale so they run away. Like you know.
Yeah, exactly. Um, well, yeah, but why wouldn't a 50 cal also do that? Right?
Well, it would, but what's more scary? Bullets flying at you or grenades?
Well, you mean bullets flying at you or shrapnel flying at you?
Well, not necessarily, because those grenades could be hitting pretty close to you. I mean, if a grenade lands 20 meters away from you, you're probably gonna be shitting your pants. But if a round lands next to you, you're gonna be like, oh, that's happened a lot before. It's alright. Especially if
I
you're
don't
like
know, dude.
experienced. Like,
I think that I think that comes down to like who you're talking about then, but I think I think the 50 cal would, also be able to. I know what you're saying, right? And that okay, yeah, it's louder. It's gonna be more chaotic with the grenades, but I don't know how much more effective you could say that would be at doing the same job of suppression. Like in the scheme of things, sure, it might be scarier, but is it gonna be more effective in terms of actually rendering suppressing them, or is it going to be a little bit more effective in doing it?
well, I think
I
it'd
I don't
be
think
if okay. So
I don't think it
I
would
was
be a
deployed
world
in
of
a
difference.
if I was deployed and a 50 cal was shooting at me or a grenade launcher was shooting at me, I'd be shitting myself a hell of a lot more if grenades started landing next to me. Because then
Sure, but so
there's my
that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between how scared you are and how suppressed you are, though,
yeah, but the amount
right?
more is 50 cal is like whatever. I'll hide behind this boulder. I'll be okay. But if a Mark 19, if like a AGS from the Russians are shooting at me, I'd be like, well, shit. This cover probably is not going to help very much. So then I'd drop my morale even more. I'd be like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here before we get fucking blown to bits. You know?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. 50 cal, yeah, sure. It got the range, velocity, and all that, but is it really going to be that more effective against solid cover?
Define solid cover now, and
Boulders, anything that could stop a 50 cal round even for like a minute, like a thick wall of concrete.
mm,
It's not going to punch through immediately. You're going to have to shoot the wall a little bit before it goes through.
yeah, got plenty of ammo to do that though. Lol.
Yeah, but you're not going to really be able to see because at that one point where you shoot, it's going to take that much ammo.
So are we back to talking about the wall though, or
Well, just
on our
really any
vehicle tangent?
cover. Well, I think the vehicle thing's been covered, but
I think, um, I think sort of, but
what else is
it
there?
should be noted that the 50 cal is can pen significant amounts of armor, and that the
Yeah,
40 millimeter with its HDP can pen a bit more, but it's going to be way harder to hit, as we already talked about. So the 50 cal can pen a BTR up to a BTR 70 at like a kilometer, dude, and or fucking BTR 80 for that matter. I don't know the 90, but because those only have about 10 millimeters of armor, and the M2 will go straight through that at a kilometer. It can still pen, I think, with like its regular ammo, about 15 millimeters of RHA. So,
All right. So
good luck.
so
Good
we
luck
we
connecting
have
your fucking 40 millimeter like that.
okay. So it's established that the 50 cal is better for vehicles. Well,
Okay, I'm
majority of
glad we agree on
vehicles.
that point.
Yes, but
Mm-hmm.
for infantry, there is no better counter than the Mark 19 as an infantry support weapon. Like
Hmm.
it's used by the infantry.
Well, think about this though, because we keep talking about like its ability to, we pretty much always are talking about negating cover and shit like that. So what about if you're talking about an actual engaging like a garrisoned building or something, right? So for this situation, where they're popping out of windows and engaging you from positions like fucking keyhole positions, shit like that, then you're going to need to actually physically land your 40 millimeter grenades inside the room that they're shooting at you from. If you do not, they will be very quickly alerted to the fact that you're trying to do this, and they can pull in, to the deeper room, and then they're safe. With the 50 cal, you don't need to land it inside the window or inside the aperture that they're shooting at you from. You can just punch right through it and just, like lay through the wall, try and whatever, and then that's that. Like you're already in the room that way. You can just punch into it. You don't need to lob into it.
Okay, well,
So
how
I think it's much
fast?
more effective at engaging like covered targets, at least in that sense. So
How
we
fast do
talk
you
about
think someone's
the
gonna
cover.
move though? Like, if you're shooting a Mark 19, what's the fire rate? Do 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 do. Right, that's fire rate. So the second that first round lands on target, it's gonna destroy the wall and possibly big enough
No,
to fit more rounds in.
that's I disagree. I do not think a 40 millimeter will destroy a wall, dude. I've seen shit like that.
Okay, even if it's like a little drywall or a mud house.
Mud,
Yeah, like okay, so like in Iraq and Afghanistan and shit, they build houses out of like a mud surface.
like like the kind of shit you see on Pakistan and Arma 2 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. So you don't think a Mark
Um,
that like easy?
I mean, maybe if you're, really looking for a reason that the Mark 19 is better, but I think,
Or
dude,
even
I
like
mean,
a modern day house in the United States, or a brick wall, or anything like that.
it would
It's an
not blow a
explosion.
brick wall. It would not take down a brick wall, dude.
Well, not immediately, but you gotta put
Not a brick
rounds.
wall, not concrete.
Okay.
Even if you're saying like wood, I think that's actually still not so. I don't think that's so. Oh, it's just gonna,
So,
disintegrate.
so you're saying that it wouldn't blow through a wall in a building, but it would if it was just a single standing wall out in the middle of nowhere?
What?
Because weren't we just talking?
I didn't say anything about a single standing wall. What do you
Okay,
mean?
okay, but before we were talking about destroying a wall to get through somebody,
Hmm.
become rubble and everything. So why can't it do that to a house?
Well, I mean, I granted it for the sake of the discussion, but it really depends on what kind of thing you're talking about. So if we were talking about, well, no, because for that matter, it wasn't so much that we were discussing it uh, destroying the wall. If we're talking about an open thing in the first place, then the Mark 19 can just shoot behind it. So that was irrelevant whether or not it destroyed the wall. I didn't think that's what we were even talking about at the time. You know what I mean? The 50 cal could go through it and knock it down, and that was its ability to negate the cover that's otherwise open on other sides. But the Mark 19 has the ability to negate that cover simply by shooting behind it in the first place. And so that for me, at least. I didn't think it was really relevant whether or not the Mark 19 brings it down. Now, when we're talking about um, like dense cover, heavy cover, I think now it's relevant though.
So you're
Right?
telling me a 5.56 can go through a brick, but a Mark 19 grenade shell can't?
When did I say 5.56?
I'm saying a 5.56. You said a Mark 19 couldn't break a brick wall apart, but a 5.56 round can get shot through a brick with, I mean, maybe one or two shots, maybe a little,
You mean like a cinder block or something?
like a fucking brick house.
Uh-huh.
So you're saying if someone was hiding in a brick house and shooting out a window, you couldn't just blow apart the bricks on the house?
Uh, okay, I guess there's gonna be a lot of different kinds of bricks if we're like getting technical, but like I mean, dude, I've seen footage of 40 millimeters hitting walls and not doing anything, hitting like kind of brick and concrete walls and not doing anything. So, because think about like they're not designed with material destructive power in mind necessarily, unless you're using a specific ammunition type to do that. They're
But don't they
designed
have that
they're
inherently
designed
with the
for
round it uses?
anti-personnel fragmentation effect. And if you say something designed for that, I mean, the closest I can think of would be the HEDP round, but that's meant for defeating armor. I don't know if the 40 millimeter has something designed for going through like concrete and knocking down walls. Because here's the thing, to take down material cover, it's usually gonna be the kinetic effect, like of the weapon hitting that material to bring it down. The the I hate to say kinetic energy because it's so overused in talking about tank rounds and whatnot, but really it's gonna be that like impact force that actually does
So high,
deconstructive damage. And with the 40 millimeter grenade launcher, it's not like a cannon or anything. It just, it like launches, lobs the grenades, and most of the terminal effect comes from the explosive in the round, if not
exactly.
all of the terminal effect. And that explosive is not very powerful. It's good enough to get shrapnel out and damage and fucking like kill people, but it's it's not meant. It's no fucking block of TNT or anything like that.
But we're
Um,
talking hard surface. We're talking about house structure material, which is not always the best built thing in the world. Like drywall. You don't think a 40 microlight can go through drywall or fuck the drywall up?
like I think that if you shot it at the thing, it would. I think, honestly, have you played like Rainbow Six Siege for an example? It's obviously it's a bad game, but I think it would be an effect along the lines of when the explosion hits the wall, it kind of takes off the drywall, but you still have the supports intact, and you still have like it's not just a big hole in the wall that you can
Yeah.
just clearly walk through or anything like that. It's gonna take off the fucking skin.
Okay. You want to
But
bring. Okay. So, Battlefield. The game series Battlefield. When you shoot
yeah,
at a wall, it doesn't. It just destroys the whole fucking thing. In Rainbow Six Siege, they need to keep the supports up for the map so it doesn't collapse and all that. If I wouldn't even add, they wouldn't even add that as a feature. But anyway, in Battlefield, they shoot the wall and it just goes away.
with what?
The grenade launcher. If you shoot a grenade launcher at a wall, it's gonna blow a hole into that wall, depending on the material.
Oh,
Am I-
yeah, I guess it does, but I mean, I'm not using Rainbow Six Siege as a citation for what I think would happen. I'm using that as I think that is what would be more realistic, though.
Well, with the pressure of
And so I don't think,
grenade,
the
so
Battlefield one is what would be more realistic.
no, because if you shot a grenade launcher at a pillar, you don't think it would damage the pillar or collapse it
Like, like
like a wood pillar in a wall,
a wood, a wood pillar.
or any kind of like a brick pillar, anything like a outside holding up a balcony pillar.
I mean, dude, a 40 millimeter is weaker than a hand grenade. And do you think a hand grenade would do that?
If enough of them were
Like,
hitting, yeah.
okay, what's the standard? If an, what's the standard? So that's the thing, though. If enough of them hit, right? If you just pound it away, sure, eventually you could probably do it. But
Well, you act like it's gonna take 100. I don't think it's gonna take that many. From the video, maybe it's just because of the one round they shot, it didn't do much. Maybe if there was like 5 more after or a little more after, it would have done more. But I don't know.
like, yeah, no, I do believe that eventually you would get the effect you're saying. But
But how
knocking it
many
down.
rounds would it take? That's the question.
That is, I guess, the question, and I don't think it would be that easy. Like that's hard to say,
And
obviously.
who knows what kind of round that was? That could have been just an HE round. What if it was like HEDP?
No,
You don't think the
I don't think HEDP would do more though, because HEDP is meant to penetrate armor. So what it does is it's either a little explosive form penetrator or like a little jet of copper, like a heat round to directly pierce a very tiny hole in the thing in front of it. And that very tiny hole is not how you like punch
yeah yeah.
like breach an opening in a wall. That's how you kill a crew
I
member
wish there
out of
was
a
a
vehicle.
video. I wish there was a video of just Mk19 unloading into like a house or something.
Doing good. Keep rocking. Hey, sir. Oh, I'm good. LT.
So yeah, after watching videos of the Mk19 actually hitting walls and buildings, doesn't seem like it does all that much, but still.
Oh yeah. That's
50.
right, motherfucker.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
but I don't know. 50 is better for buildings, I guess, but in the open, Mk19 is definitely going to be better.
And that's kind of the thing. Like that's the thing where I would never argue that the 50 cal is going to be better at engaging fucking people in the open because yeah, for that matter, when you have an area of effect weapon and it can actually affect and you have people like in an open area that it can affect, it's gonna be much, much, much better. If you've got a fire team moving, just they're not in cover, then sure, pop, 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 they're all dead. Like pretty much once you get that on target. The 50 cal is gonna be much, much more difficult because you've got to individually hit the guys of that team. But I think absolutely as in terms of doing the job of hitting people in cover, of being like an effective supporting weapon, just being like much, just being able to do more things in general and be more effective in general. I think that 50 cal is significantly the weapon of choice. We haven't talked about this, but what about in the role of anti-air?
Well, it's pretty obvious. But I don't think you're really gonna try. I mean, if you need to, last resort, 50 cal would be obviously better, friends. You're not gonna hit a jet with a fucking Mark 19.
Well, you're not gonna hit a jet with a 50 cal either.
Yeah, but you're gonna shoot at it. It's gonna probably be like, well, shit, probably shouldn't wait around just in case. You know?
Yeah, like maybe you'd be able to hit a helicopter, but you're not gonna hit a jet with a 50
Oh yeah, you could probably definitely hit a helicopter with a 50
Yeah.
and do damage to it.
I don't know. It's kind of funny though, because when I think about this, I think of the fact that the Mark 19 could have the canister round, and like that would actually.
Well, that's true too. That'd be pretty good for any kind of anti-air. Well, it has to be kind of close though. I don't think it's gonna be good at a distance, like 500 meters. I don't really think canister's gonna do all that well.
True, because it's not a cannon still, so
Yeah.
it really wouldn't have the power behind it to hit range.
So yeah,
What other-
probably a
what
good
other kind of
mix.
situations can we think of?
Well, the best scenario would be a mix of both.
I guess we've already hit on the most
think-
important shit.
Yeah, I think we hit everything. So yeah.
But yeah, like I just here's the thing, because I thought about this whole what brain fart. I thought about the whole topic of like, oh, what's gonna be better in the first place a while ago, just in Arma when I was on Pakistan testing out a bunch of shit. You know, back when I didn't know anything about how to play Arma or do stuff like that, and I was just always thinking, like, you know, this Mark 19, why would I ever take the 50 cal over this? This is just, it has more range, has better anti-cover abilities, like blah, 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 blah. And since then, I just feel like I've had my eyes opened, and now I want to advocate for the 50 cal and the reasons for why it's just like, why it makes sense that it's the fucking top dog.
Yeah. You got a point. I think a good mix of both would be perfect, but if you had to choose one, maybe the 50 cal would be better.
I think, like, yeah, in about 90% of situations, the 50 cal is better. So, in terms of having a mixture of both, like, pretty much you just need the 50. If you ask me.
Yeah. Well, alright. You got anything else to talk about?
I don't know. Do you feel like we missed anything?
I feel we covered everything.
All right.
Yeah, so everybody else can just leave comments, whoever sees this, and give their input.
Yeah, if you feel free to leave your input and tell us who you think won, or which weapon you think won. And yeah, it's pretty good. Good discussion.